Cool. I think we are live on YouTube. We are. I've got some people joining. Cool. I think we are live on YouTube. One second. Hey folks that just joined us, we're just getting ready to roll for 12. Cool, we're getting there. Hey folks, so we've got Jamie, Stuart, Tom, Mike, another Tom, and David.
Hey.
Hey.
Are they all of them?
I'm just going to mute everyone for the moment, other than Stuart. A bit of background noise there. Cool. Yep, you're unmuted. Okie dokie, that's 12 o'clock. Let's get going. We're here on Zoom and YouTube as always. Hey folks on YouTube, nice to see you. Right, so today we have a special guest, which we're going to interview, I mean, same thing. And we're just basically gonna, I guess it's an interrogation. We're gonna try and squeeze as many business nuggets and learning points out of him as possible. But whilst we're just waiting for people to trickle in, I just wanted to answer a couple of questions that popped in overnight. Well, not overnight. It was some in the WAP group and some from the previous thread. And the first one is analysis paralysis when setting up the new business. So there's I'm so sorry, my memory is useless, but I've forgotten your name, but it was a lady that has asked. So the question was something like, hey, Simon, I've been following your stuff for a while. I really, really, really want to get into business. And I've just been faffing around because I don't know what to do, as in I don't know what business idea to do. And I think this is a major stumbling block of a lot of people. And although business isn't for everyone, it is for a lot of people, even if you don't think it is. And so there's lots of sort of internal dilemmas that you all face when you start getting into this space. One is that you probably think you're not clever enough, you're not smart enough, you're not from the right background. Business running a business is, for other people, not yourself. So that those self-limiting beliefs in that sense. And then it's going back to this question, it's the idea thing. It's like, I really want to go, don't know what to pull the trigger on. And people waste too much brain energy and time trying to come up with $1 billion idea. I think I said it yesterday. You don't need $1 billion idea. You really don't. You just need something. Like if this is going to be your first business, all you need to make is £300 a month profit. That is it. That should be your first milestone. That's what we did with My Fairy Pen Pal. That experiment that we set up using all the WAP methods. Our mini milestones was hit £300 per month profit within 3 months, and then $3,000 a month profit within a year. And we nailed it. And so when you dial it back a bit and think, right, all I need to make is £300 per month profit. What do I need to do? And then your mind, what you're doing is you're then engaging your mind to actually be a bit more productive than just like, oh, I don't know what to do, and then do brain off. And so if you then get something to making £300 a month profit, then it's a lot easier to scale because you then got a bunch of customers that are paying you. You can then ask them what they like, what they don't like, etc., etc. And also, your first bunch of businesses are not going to be the businesses that make it big for you. They're really not. As I showed yesterday, I went through all of my disaster projects, and that's what I call them, projects. They're never proper businesses, like freaking Fly Siam Aviation Services. It was like they're all just projects. And so you'll probably what I found with most of my friends is that the business that they're in now, the ones that have been doing well, it's like their fifth thing, their fifth project. They've been doing it for a bunch of years. So I think that's the first one. So without further ado, let's crack on to the main guest. So I do less talking. And today we have a dude called Stuart Miles, who is on my screen on the top left. I don't know about you guys. So Stuart, mate, thanks for being here. Much appreciated.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for having me.
Cool. Just double checking. Can everyone hear Stuart on YouTube and on Zoom? Yep. Thumbs up from Chris. Awesome.
Good stuff.
Cool. Okay. So where do we begin?
Where do we begin? Shall I tell you my story?
Please.
Do you want the long story or the short story?
Short story first, and then we can dive around it. Wait, how long is your long story?
It's not long. It's not massively long. I'll try and get a medium story. Yeah. So I left school at 15, not a single GCSE to my name. Yeah. Not that I was not bright. I just found it very boring. I'm not very good in a classroom environment, so left school early. It was more interesting things to do than listen in class. Left school at 15 and ended up working in a factory at 16 in a real dead-end job. And I don't know, somehow I found my way out of that, got into retail. And then at 21, my brother wanted to set up a business, and he was a dental technician. So he'd done that since he was 16. He was pretty good at it by that time, 6 years older than me. So we set this business up from scratch with no money. We moved house. We bought a house together and converted a garage. So it was, real dust, like from nothing. Built a laboratory, and then I think it was probably about a year in, I was like, I like the business side, but I don't want to be a dental technician. And at that time, that's what it needed. So I walked away, went off and back into retail, ended up learning how to design kitchens, and that led on to me setting up my own business, designing kitchens, and I ended up building a showroom. I had like 4 fitters, a great workshop where we built our own cabinets. And then in 2008, was like, I've built a £500,000 business. Like I'm the next Richard Branson. Everything's great. And I went and invested and got another showroom. It was like I think it was about $100,000 contract to put this showroom in, like a deferred payment thing to suppliers and stuff. Absolutely, everything was like the best. And then the customers just dried up like zilch, like from the credit crunch and all that stuff. So I ended up running out of cash and lost everything, and I was bankrupt. Absolute rock bottom. Lost my house, watched my car get towed away. Huge relationship issues from it. It was like rock bottom, like bailiff banged on my windows and everything. Right, I was proper screwed, officially bankrupt. So where did I go from there? I knocked about a bit, tried a few other little bits and business things. Really, really stuck because I felt like everything I'd done up to that point had just gone. I was like, what do I do now? Like I had no idea. Anyway, just a little bit after that, my brother qualified as a clinical dental technician, which meant he could see patients directly. And he said, "Oh, do you want to come and be a practice manager for me? Because I'm going to get a commercial unit." So yeah, okay, fine. So that sounds interesting. I went and did that. And we started sort of building a business. He says, "I want you to look after all the money." Like, are you sure about that? Like, it's not long since I was made bankrupt. He's like, "Yeah, you've obviously, know how, don't do it again kind of thing. You've learned your lessons." So I did that. And then it was a couple of years later, he offered, because I was sort of getting itchy feet. I was like, I want to go and start a business now. I'm ready. I've like started learning new stuff and realised where I'd gone wrong before. And so he offered me half the business on a deferred payment, which I was like, yeah, this is a great deal. I'm doing that. Gave me the incentive, and I became a partner, 50% in the business. And that period of time is where it really took off. So we built a business that was somewhere around about 100 grand, and we took it to £1 million turnover in 3 years.
Okay.
It was huge growth, ridiculous growth. And I nearly lost the business probably 20 times in that period. I was like, to a point where I was like, shit, I've done it again. Like I can't do this. Like I've now crashed my brother's business. And thought, I'm not cut out for business. Like I've lost everything again. Like we had the tax man turning up and all sorts of problems along the way. But everything we did was good, but probably just a little bit too quick. And yeah, so we're like, right, let's sell the business because things are not quite, we're struggling to run it. Neither of us are dentists, because that was the big thing. We changed from a denture clinic to a full dental practice. So neither of us being dentists, we were a little bit out of our depth. And like, right, sod it, let's sell this business. Like it's a good business. If a dentist bought this, it'd be fantastic for him. So that's what we went on that journey. And actually that process actually then took the business to another level. We sold the business twice, and which it fell through for various niggly problems. By the time we actually sold it, I was working half a day to 1 day a week, earning a very, very good salary. And thinking, shit, why am I selling this now? Because we'd fixed everything. Like everything was running smoothly. All them things you face in business, we cracked it all. I had a cushy life. All I had to do was keep an eye on marketing and sort out any big staff problems when they happen. So yeah, that's where we got to. But I was like, I'm too far down the road now. We've committed. We're going to sell. Go again and start again. And that's it, really. That's where we are. Having sold the business, the company that bought it were a small dental group, and they wanted me to carry on doing the marketing for them. So that kind of pushed me straight into business number 2. I needed to be able to do that. I needed another business, a marketing agency, right? So that's why it made sense. Like, right, okay, I'm going to do a marketing agency. So that's where I am today. So I'm now building up my marketing agency. We're getting clients monthly. It's everything I did to build that business in that 3 years. I'm sort of teaching people or doing it for them. So that's my story.
Wow. Okay. There's a lot to pick up, or not pick apart, as in to get in there. So let's go back to the showroom business. So you're building these showrooms, and you went, and you said you quickly got to sort of 500k revenue.
Yes.
Like, was that just yourself building these kitchen showrooms?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't kitchen showrooms. It was a kitchen showroom. So I literally started with, I sold my house that I did own with my brother. So I had about 10 grand. I started a kitchen showroom business with 10 grand. It's like, it's mental. I would never do that even today with all my experience. And I built like a few basic displays myself and just started selling kitchens, bought the software I needed. And yeah, it sort of took off from there.
But when you say just started selling kitchens, I mean, like the average viewer, like let's just assume probably half people here are small business owners and half aren't. So to those that have never been in business, like, I just started selling kitchens. I mean, like how? Like, did you set up a web? Like, when was this? Did you have a website?
This is the crazy thing about it all. So 2000, it was 2000. What was it? 2003 when my eldest son was born. So I just found a property, got a lease on it because I had a little bit of money from my house sale, and we went into rented accommodation. And I found a few suppliers because I had the experience. I knew I was pretty good at designing kitchens at that point. So it was just to put some displays in, put a sign up, did a bit of advertising in the local newspaper, had the software and sold some kitchens. Then I, went out and found a fitter to install them for me. That was it really. And off the back of that, I built a decent business up to 2008 when it crashed.
So I'm probably just being stupid here. So you put some ads out, and people responded to those newspaper
sure.
adverts.
Yeah, and obviously I had a showroom, I had a shop front as
Yeah.
well. So yeah, it's like, yeah.
And how much was a kitchen selling for back then?
When I first started, my average sale was probably around about 10,000.
Jesus, so you sold what, like 50? Was that 50 kitchens?
Yeah, the average was probably up to around 15, 16,000 by the time I'd hit that £500,000 turn.
Okay.
Yeah, some of the stuff I was doing was just like supply only, £3,500, £4,000 kitchens. But by the time at the last year of turnover, the first sort of few months before it went pop, most of my kitchen averages were sort of 20, 25,000. I'd raised my game. I'd learned a lot of lessons, but the big mistake that I made was that I wasn't using Google AdWords. So I'd still do newspaper ads and all that sort of stuff. And I built a fantastic website. It was amazing with all, well ahead of the game there.
Yeah.
But I was driving no traffic to it. This was at the time when you could buy Google clicks for like a penny. A penny a click, and I wasn't doing it. If I'd have done that, that probably would have been enough to save me, honestly.
So what exactly was it that killed that business?
So I built up quite a bit of debt. I'd had my commitment on the new showroom. If I hadn't with my new showroom, I probably would have been okay. But I'd committed to that. I'd built that, and the customers just zilch, like it was a tap turned off. It just nothing happened. There was a few other things as well, which I don't really want to go into, that happened that didn't help me. But yeah, ultimately it was the credit crunch that kind of stopped people spending money for a while, or my market, the ones I were advertising to at that time. Again, if I knew what I know now, I would easily be able to fix that business.
Yeah.
No
so
problems.
And did you then go bankrupt at the end of that business?
At the end of that business, I had to. But unfortunately, I had the supply commitments with the showroom.
Yeah,
and none of my customers got shafted. Like they bought a kitchen from me. They had a kitchen, but it got to the point where I can't take anybody's money here, because if I do, there's a risk I may not be able to fulfill it.
Yeah.
I was like, some suppliers here are going to lose out, but I've got to do the right thing. I knew it was the right thing to do. As I said, I could have fixed it if I knew what I know now.
So what happens during bankruptcy then?
Up to bankruptcy, horrendous, absolutely horrendous.
Oh wow.
Post bankruptcy, that's fine. Within a year, I was discharged from it, and I had a credit card to start building my credit again and stuff like that. And
what was the horrendous stuff on the run up to
the bailiffs, because I literally didn't have the money to make myself bankrupt, so I was waiting for someone else to proceed with bankruptcy. So I had bailiffs knocking on my door. We had to pretend we weren't there, shut the curtains, hide, and wait for them to go away, kind of thing. It was horrible. It was really horrible.
And how long did that horrible period last?
Probably, I don't know, probably a couple of months.
Wow. And then, so during that year where you're technically bankrupt, what can you do and what can't you do?
You can't get credit. Although I kept my house, I kept my mortgage because it was a negative equity, because the house prices had dipped at that point. So I managed.
Are you allowed to get a job?
Oh yeah, you can do everything normal. You can't get credit. You can't be a governor of a school and some weird stuff like that. But
is there a cap to the earning that you can do from your job though?
No, nothing like that.
Oh wow. Huh.
No, once you've been discharged as well, that's it. Then it's basically gone. There were a few bits where the sensible ones that suppliers tagged. They put like a charge on my property.
Mm-hmm.
So when I sold my property, they still got paid, but pretty much the others they didn't.
Yeah. Okay.
It wasn't a massive amount of money, actually. It was only like 80 grand. I think, like, I say that flippantly, but in thinking back, like it's like 80 grand. I could have easily got round it, found,
Yeah.
knowing what I know now, like lots of different ways.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
So you then got into the dental practice with your brother.
Yeah.
So was this like fitting things in people's mouths? Is that
Yeah,
denture practice you said?
Yes, so it's so Simon made dentures, and then he was one of the first in the country to qualify clinically. So he went to Canada and got this qualification, which meant that rather than the patient going to the dentist does the work, he sends it to the technician, the patient would come straight to Simon and he'd make and fit them the denture.
Okay. And so what did you do to grow it from 100K rev to 1 million?
Yeah.
I mean, you 10x that. Like, that's pretty cool.
Everything really, all the lessons I've learned in business. So having a great website, driving in traffic, having a premium option, delivering exceptional service. It's one of the things I wasn't very good at with my kitchen business. I delivered a good service, but I didn't understand the difference between good and exceptional. Like, it's a big game changer when you actually get over your own ego and actually provide, actually serve your customers like really, really properly. All that kind of stuff. Google AdWords, having a CRM, remarketing, lots of videos.
Nice.
All the stuff that we do.
What other denture and dental practices doing all that at the time?
At that time, not many at all.
No.
In fact, none in our area. We blitzed it really. It was easy from that perspective. They didn't even have websites at that point, most of them.
Blimey. So what were the learning nuggets then going through that growth phase from 100K to a mil?
I think,
because you said you almost went bust like 20 times along the way.
Yeah, it's doing things on a shoestring again, really, and probably doing it a little bit too quickly for the type of business that it was. I don't think we could have changed or done anything differently other than doing it slower. But it flowed. It was like we couldn't really do it because what we didn't appreciate is a dental practice is so expensive to set up. Like, we went out when we built the clinic, the clinic for the dentist was about 100,000, and then there were things like the CQC have to come out because it's a regulated business. They have to come out and check it, and we'd spent 100 grand, we'd invested it, like built this amazing clinic, and they're like, yeah, we can come out in 3 months' time. Like, what am I supposed to do for the next 3 months? I need to start, we need to start trading. So we managed to get them to come out a little bit quicker. But we were sat there for a good few weeks waiting for them to come out and sign us off. Just the general pain of business, of bricks and mortar business like that. But the big one for us was not being dentists. So there, if something went wrong, it was like we couldn't say to the dentist, well, do it like this, or no, you're wrong, or because we weren't dentists. So that was tricky. That was tricky. The whole thing about owning a business that you're not the technician in the business. I'm a perfect example of that. I couldn't step in. I couldn't step in and fix something if it went wrong.
Yeah. So what happened when you tried to sell the business? What went wrong? Like you said,
when they fell through,
completed twice. Yeah.
So usually it was niggly little things. Mostly the buyers got cold feet because we had a laboratory within our business. It wasn't a typical dental practice for the reason I've just said. Neither of us were dentists, so normally a group would come in and buy a practice, and the dentist would stay on and over the next 5 years, and the business would carry on. Because we weren't dentists, I think that immediately it sort of made them look a lot closer at all the other stuff. You know, they were nervous about it, and the fact that there was a dental laboratory there, which they didn't understand. So yeah, so it's little things off the back of that. I think some of the stuff in the business wasn't quite right. Some of our profits weren't as good as they could have been, and certainly our systems were definitely not as good as they could have been. The CQC compliance, all that kind of thing, that needed a lot of improvement. And actually going through the sale process, we actually found a lot of that stuff, you know, it helped us really build a better business. I'll tell you what the big one was, actually. We were expanding from 2 clinics to 3 clinics, or 1 clinic to 2 clinics. We were going through lots of building work, and CQC turned up on our doorstep on a Monday morning, and they nearly shut us down because we couldn't present any evidence because it was all boxed up.
Yeah,
you know, we were completely disorganized. And as far as they could see, we weren't doing it because we couldn't prove it. So we obviously were doing everything, but we didn't have the paperwork to back it up.
Yeah.
So that was like a serious thing. And they came back like 3 months later and it was fine. But because that 3-month period, the business sale couldn't complete.
Shit.
And by the 3 months when we had done it, things had changed in that group. People had moved on and they'd it basically fizzled out.
Mate, I'm so sorry. DPD said, I've got a really important package arriving between 12 and 1. It's just arrived. And the dog's going nuts. Can you just pause it for like
of course.
3 minutes? So
Yeah.
sorry, folks. In the meantime, please put all your questions in the chat box. I'll be right back. It's very embarrassing. Oh, bloody hell.
If anyone's got any questions, pop them in the Zoom chat. I think I'll be able to see them and I can answer your questions while Siam's sorting his delivery out. Okay, so Sam, how did you get out of bankruptcy after 1 year? It's not really getting out of it. Basically, they just discharge you. So there isn't any discrepancies or any investigations or anything like that. They say, okay, fine, we clear the bankruptcy, but it still stays on your credit file for 6 years. So you're not going to get a mortgage. You weren't going to get any of the sort of major deals. You know, there's a long. You've got to wait that 6 years before it clears from your credit file. Where did you get the idea of dental? Why not something else? Well, I don't know if you missed that bit, but my brother was a dental technician, so that's why that's what led me to do dentistry, really. What would you say being good at advertising is the biggest thing to keep businesses afloat during hard times? Marketing. Is it the most important thing? It's definitely one of the most important. I would say the one thing I would say is don't stop doing it. Like, that's probably my biggest lesson in business. Like, don't stop marketing. Never ever stop marketing it. And we didn't do that with dental. When the hardest possible times, when we had some suppliers chasing us and things were really, really difficult, we never ever stopped marketing. We never switched off, because if you've got customers, patients, whatever you want to call them, coming into the business, you can fix everything else. If you've got sales coming in, you can fix anything. So yeah, hopefully that answers that one. Do you work on your current business full time, or do you reward yourself with some free time? At the moment, I'm working full time because it needs it. It's in that early stage. Definitely will be rewarding myself. So hopefully sooner rather than later. Yeah. Thanks, Siam. I was just answering some questions while you.
Yeah, no, so I'm so sorry. I'm really, really sorry. It was like a couple of grand's worth of like My Fairy Pen Pal stuff and like RT stuff. It just, yeah, it's blowy. So, I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
Cool. Thanks everyone for, for answering the questions. Yeah, so we're talking about the deal and how things fell through before my interruption.
Yes.
Again, sorry. So in the end, like what exit multiple did you get? And like,
Oh, good question. I think from the top of my head, I think it was 5 times EBITDA,
oh sweet.
maybe 6 times, something like that. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
you split the profits with you and your brother 50?
Yeah, I had to share half of it with him, unfortunately, and there was some debt in the business, and I had a little bit of personal stuff I needed to sort out. Yeah, so yeah, it's not like I haven't got £1 million in my pocket, unfortunately. Obviously, there's tax to pay on it and all that sort of stuff, and it's deferred over 5 years. Well, 3 years, and then there's a little bonus at year 5 as well. So yeah, I've got a good cash flow now over the next 5 years, but unfortunately, I don't have it all in my pocket.
And they kept you on to do the marketing. So do they pay you a retainer with your new?
Yeah, I basically invoice them through my new company, and they pay a monthly fee.
And what type of marketing do you do now?
Yeah, so pretty much my system's very simple. There's nothing exciting or different about it. It's great website with great content, SEO, and then it's driving traffic there through Google AdWords and typically Facebook remarketing, and build some videos into that and stuff like that. But that's principally it. CRM in the background. Yeah.
No. And what sort of companies do you sort of target?
I've not targeted any because I haven't done any marketing yet for my new company. I've been too busy with the ones that have been coming through sort of like word of mouth. We've just got a video that I've done, and I'm not at the moment. I'm just targeting general business. Like my clients are a resin table maker, a carpet installer, someone that installs parcel boxes. It's just come on board, a hypnotherapist. Obviously, I've got my dental practice as well. A couple of others as well. So yeah, very diverse, but it's just the same principle works, I think, for pretty much any business, really.
Yeah. What's the URL of your?
For my website?
Yeah.
developbusiness.co.uk.
Developbusiness.co.uk.
Yeah.
Let's have a little look. Let's share the screen. Share screen.
Okay, so my site's not 100% finished, but
okay.
Yeah, you can.
I got the quiz. Seems like every business is doing like top of funnel quizzes these days.
Yeah.
How have you found that?
I've had one person fill that in, but I haven't driven any traffic to the site yet, so I can't really say I've tested it. I've got some stuff on there, some affiliate stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that your son?
That's Jack? My son. That's Jack. Yeah. So Jack's a whiz with video editing and stuff like that. So yeah, he's helping me with that technical stuff.
And who is this? Your biz partner or your wife or?
No, she's a lot younger than me. Yeah, that's Opal. She's a relationship manager, so she's looking after all the clients, just making sure I haven't forgotten anything. She does a lot of content writing and stuff for me as well. But yeah, Opal used to work for me as a trainee dental nurse in the practice.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Nice. So with everything you've gone through, like, what would you say are the biggest sort of learning points? Like, the biggest errors you've made, which then derived the big learning points.
God, there's so many. I think never stop marketing is probably my message, really.
Yeah.
Even when things are really bad, because you can fix stuff if you've got cash flow coming in. And then, delivering an exceptional service to your customers, I think, is a big one. I think a lot of businesses miss that. And just by doing that, you stand out head and shoulders over everyone else. And it's not good enough now anyway, because of social proof, your review platforms, all that kind of stuff. You have to have that. That's probably the two because there's loads of stuff in there. We could talk about knowing your numbers. We could talk about,
Yeah.
I'm a numbers man. That's my big thing, really. Like understanding that profit's more important than sales. Because I still talk about that £1 million turnover, but at that point, the profit was crap. It was really awful. So from after building the £1 million sales, the next 3 years actually were more important because that's where we turned the business profitable.
Okay. So for those of you guys and girls viewing, are there any questions for Stuart whilst we have him here? Yeah, Chris, spot on. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it.
Yeah, that's
If you can't measure it, you can't grow it. Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, everything I work on now is a 3-year forecast. So I do a 3-year plan. I think 3 years is a nice chunk. I can't cope with 10 years. I know a lot of people talk about 10 years, but I'm like, no, no.
So
I'm
much
like,
changes.
I'll be in my
over 10
50s
years.
in 10 years. Like, I can't deal with that. Give me a 3-year plan.
So what is the goal? What is what's next?
It's a good question. That's a really good question because I have a very clear plan. Having a plan is really important. So I will get this business probably to £1 million turnover or somewhere near there in 3 years. That's sort of like my goal. And at that point, I put an MD in so that I can sit back from this business completely and it just runs itself. My next business is going to be a kitchen showroom.
Is it really?
Yeah, because I used to absolutely love it, and I was really, really good at designing kitchens. I could do it with my eyes closed. Absolutely loved it, and that will be a lifestyle business for me.
Yeah.
In my head, I've got like a house attached to it, and I work a couple of days a week just doing the design, and everything else is taken care of. So, that's my sort of goal.
Nice. Cool. So, what question? Come on, folks. There must be loads of I think we need to dig a bit more deeper into your business hiccups. I mean, like you said, there were like 20 times that the biz almost fell under. Like, what happened with them? Like, what almost killed your business 20
It's
times?
always it's like every business that goes pop, it's running out of cash. And like I said, we grew so quickly, so we had people in the team that weren't particularly good at what they were doing, sabotaging the business.
In what way?
Just
sorry, I'm a details man. I like details.
It's really hard. I'm not a details man unless it's numbers. I'm terrible. But like people, people just not giving a shit, basically. We had people that was one guy stealing patients from us, set up on his own in the background illegally, telling people that you can do it sort of cheaper and stuff like that. We have had, just general staff not turning up and just causing headaches, complaining, not being part of the team. But it always boils down to because you can fix all that stuff if you've got plenty of cash in the bank. So it always boiled down to that, and we were investing, always constantly heavily investing back in the business, and there was always stuff that needed doing and fixing and spending money on. So just when we felt like we were getting somewhere, down again. I've got that constant battle. Like literally, really, we'd only really got over that part of the hill, literally at the point of sale. And we had coronavirus to deal with as well. So when that kicked off, we thought, shit, this sale's not happening. There's no way they're going to buy this practice now. Like, we've just been forced to close. We're in full lockdown. This sale's gone. Like, we've lost again. The third time we've lost the sale, and didn't know what the business was going to look like going forward.
Yeah,
we were, in major stress mode at that point.
Yeah, selling businesses is really tough. Like, buying businesses is really freaking easy. Like I've never done it. Or like when you get into it, it's really easy. But selling is like so hard. I remember one time I was selling this business, and we did everything spot on. We had even done the beginning of the handover. We'd hand over the business for sort of we did a 2-week handover. Just he sort of wanted to bed into the business first. Did the 2-week sort of, so he was happy. Got all the contracts done. Solicitors all did it, and then at the day of signing, we met up at Sprowston Manor Golf Course to just literally sign the papers, and then so he got his pen out, did it, and he looked me in the eye and went, "I want this 30% cheaper, Simon." And I was like, "What?" I was like, and I thought he was joking. I was like, oh, "Nice one." And he just looked at me and was like, "Yeah, I want it at this price." And he had his pen over the signature line and was like, I'd like it at this price. And I was like, what? We've just spent the last month and a half doing everything, handing over, doing everything. We got both solicitors. We had, I don't normally, with the SPA, the share purchase agreement or the sale and purchase agreement, I normally do a 1-page, 2-page thing, but
Right.
he insisted on both parties having solicitors, and we ended up with this fucking 10-page SPA. It was ridiculous.
Mate. The due diligence on a dental practice sale it's just mental. Honestly, it's absolutely mind blowing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's pages and pages and pages. The stuff just goes on and on and on.
I bet. Yeah.
And by the time you get to the end of it, it's changed. So you have to start again because all the numbers have changed. And throw coronavirus into that mix as well. It's massive headache. But that's not good. We had a thing again because of the whole lockdown thing. They changed our structure so that we got less up front and more over the 3 years because they were getting panicky about everything, which is fair enough. They weren't doing it to take the pee, but it was just situation. As it turns out, private dentistry has boomed now because
they're always full.
Yeah, the NHS is really really struggling because of the system that they put in place, and it's just driven loads more patients into private.
Yeah. Secret Wealth Project on YouTube said, so what happened with the 30% thing? Lol. Oh, with my thing, yeah. So he was looking at me and I don't know whether he was trying to leverage the fact that his hand was over the signature line, but that meant nothing because even if we did change things, we'd then have to change all of the documents. I was like, "You are joking, right?" And he was like, "No, I've changed my mind." And what did I do? And I was like, "Well, no." I literally just said no. We spent all this time. We've agreed. We've actually shaken hands, mate, because he was a friend. And I was like, "We've literally shaken hands already." I teach my kids, your word is your bond, and actions emit your truth. That's part of the kid creed that we have. And I was like, this is this is simply a formality. And he was like, "Well, my accountant said I should buy it 30% cheaper." I was like, "Your accountant knows bugger all." And then I was like, "Look, the deal is the deal. You either take it or you don't." And then I think his, I don't know, ego got in the way and he was like, "Okay, no deal." I was like, "Fine." And then I sat there and had a big bowl of chips and ketchup on my own. So yeah. And a cappuccino.
What happened to the business? Did you sell it again, or you still got it? Or?
No, in fact, the business is Float Norwich. So
the float one, yeah.
still trying to get rid of the thing. And it's ironic. It's an amazing business in so many ways, but for me, it's the wrong owner. I'm the worst owner for Float Norwich. We it's so amazing because in the reception we have these thick guest books. At hotels you have these big old guest books that open up like that. They're that thick. We have about 4 of them filled to the brim with oh my god, floating is amazing, yada yada yada. But yeah, I'm just not the correct owner for it. So but hey, yeah. So
it's
yeah,
a big great business to have in a spa sign. As part of
for me, the rent is the killer. So I set that business up with, I wanted footfall, so I had it in the center of Norwich, and it's been handy because we've got a car park. So literally, whenever I go to the city, I just park at Float, and I'm in the city, free parking. Yay! I say free parking. Parking is technically £9,000 a year, so but
Right.
that I have to pay. But yeah, the rent is a killer because it's a teeny weeny building and it's £2,500 a month rent. So in the grand scheme, it's there's not much, but for that business, it's too much rent. Whereas now, I'm pretty sure I could move to the outskirts of Norwich, get a unit 3 times the size for £1,000 a month, and then that'll be But anyway, today is not about float; it's about you. So we had some questions. So So Stuart's asked a good question, and he said, "How do you deal with stress? Like, business is the biggest stress magnet ever. Like, yeah, how do you deal with it?"
Good question. I've always been quite good with stress because I started with nothing. I kind of I've kind of had nothing to lose as such, so it made me more. I felt like I could take more risks, and I come from nothing, so what the hell, that was my earlier days kind of attitude. Now it's changed completely. I'm more stressed now that I've got money because I'm like, I've got something to lose now. I really don't want to screw this up. Even though I've got a much less risky business, I've got an expensive lifestyle because I'm used to it. So my sort of money's ticking down, and I've got my business to break even point, but it's not giving me an income yet. So it's I'm quite stressed about that. But yeah, how do you deal with stress? I don't know. Not really the best person to ask. I just get on with it. I usually
really?
I deal with it by working harder. I think that's not really the right answer, but that's
But it's true. Like in business, more sales solves problems. That's it. You're spot on there.
Yeah, in the short term, but you've got to fix your profit side, haven't you?
Yeah. Otherwise, you're growing a leaky bucket. And scaling a leaky bucket turns into like a leaky dam.
Yeah.
So, do you invest? Do you? Yeah. What do you invest in?
I've been.
Was it all in a bank?
No. I've been playing around with the idea of investing for a long time, and now I've got it. I've made some money on crypto. I made some money on oil during lockdown. That was fun. But yeah, I'm quite new to that, and I think once I've got my business, once I feel comfortable with my business is starting to give me an income, then I will start properly learning and doing some good stuff with investments. I've got a lot of property development experience, which is something I would like to get involved with again at some point. But I've realized I could have just put, instead of starting this business, I just put all my money into the right cryptos.
Hindsight
done that, but you never know, do you? And you never know what ones and all that kind of stuff. But it's quite funny just to think that you could have just stashed all my money into one coin and 10 times it.
But yeah, it's funny because you always make the correct decision at the time, or the correct decision that you feel at the correct time. Like, you don't ever make a decision go, right, what is the worst decision I can make for myself right now? Like, it's not what humans do. So, and take Cardano, the crypto. I've been talking about Cardano since it was 1 cent back in 2017. And I've always been really freaking bullish on Cardano. But the thing is, plowing your life savings into Cardano in 2017 was not a wise move. It's a brand new project, hadn't really got anything going for it. And so, had I plowed my life savings into Cardano back in 2017, it would be freaking amazing at 1 pence, 2 pence, or cents. But that would have been a poor decision to make at the time. And so, hindsight is beautiful. Hindsight is a bitch, actually, because it just screws you over. It's like, this is what you could have had. So Michael True has asked, how best to learn affordable entry to Google AdWords or SEO that actually works? Yes, good question. I find SEO a real minefield. Can you recommend any good resources to learn how to drive traffic? Thanks. Yeah, good questions, Mike. Cool. He's left. Oh, no, he is here. Cool.
He's there, is he? there's no fast, easy answer. Certainly to SEO. It's just spend a hell of a lot of time learning it, or pay someone else to do it. That's your two choices. I mean, there's loads of good courses out there. I've got some affiliate links on my website for some courses that the Entrepreneur Circle run. Some good stuff on there. But there's loads of stuff on Udemy and all that kind of stuff that people teach you. But it just takes a lot of time to learn. I'm still learning it now, and it changes constantly as well. That's the other thing. As soon as you think you figured it out, everything, Google just screw it all back up again.
Yeah. Like it really is a slow burner SEO. And so Michael, regarding SEO, I found that it's way easier to do like micro geo niching or geo targeting. So for example, I don't know what business you have, but I did a bit of SEO for my dad's restaurant. He has a Thai restaurant in Norwich. And so it's really easy doing SEO for a physical thing in Norwich, because all I focused on was Thai restaurants, Thailand restaurants, Norwich or Norfolk. And so probably not at the moment. In fact, I'm just curious. Thai, if I'm just going to Google Thai restaurants Norwich. That's pretty much what people would type in. And then the Google stuff comes up, then TripAdvisor, and then my restaurant. I'll share my screen. So typically whenever that's probably what most people, obviously there's all sorts of different search terms in Google, like Thai restaurants in Norwich or Norwich, that's typical. You'll always get the Google stuff up front. Then TripAdvisor, they're normally, like for restaurants, it's hard to get on top of TripAdvisor, but then there we have it. This is the restaurant I grew up in, like from a kid. I was washing plates when I was like 8 years old, and but
that's because you got thailandnorwich.co.uk, which is going to help as well.
Exactly. That is precisely why I chose that URL. It's awesome. But what was I talking about? Yeah, so and also to help with SEO, I found that I incorporated so we did a couple of things. So I used to run Google ads targeting, again, just the Norwich area. So when someone types in Chinese restaurant Norwich, my ad would come up. This is in the days where your ad would pop up, the top 3 ads. It would be like, oh, looking for a Chinese, have a Thai instead. Here's a quick cheeky offer, free bottle of wine if you book now, or something like that. And I was trying to hijack traffic from Indian restaurants, Chinese restaurants, Italian restaurants, and it worked. So that was that. And also, if you drive Facebook traffic as well, and so paid ads helps SEO at the same time, in a way. But you also have to understand the differences between each platform. So with Google ads, you can only really do Google ads for things that people are searching for. Whereas in Facebook, no one's searching for Thai restaurants in Norwich. And so you with Facebook, you're basically putting out attention grabbers like, hey, check out this, this advert, blah. But you're right, it is a minefield. I've spent thousands of marketing courses and trying to learn this shit, because this stuff just doesn't come naturally to me. But how long do you think, Stuart, how long does it take you to get a SEO page SEO'd up properly?
It doesn't. I just keep going. I don't think it's ever finished. I think that's the point. It's just just see it as an ongoing thing. But there are some quick things, like Google My Business is absolutely amazing. If you're not on there, start with that. Yeah.
So actually, this is new to me. Wait, Google My Business.
Google My Business. Well, if you do that, if you bring that search back up that you just did.
Oops, one sec. Share screen. Yeah.
No, go back to your Thailand search. Thai restaurants. See that map and the little listings underneath. That's Google My Business.
Okay.
So you just set up. It's free. You set up. You go on the map. You put your address in, and you can put posts on there. You can put offers, all sorts of stuff. It's getting better and better. Google My Business. If you haven't got that, start with that. Honestly, it's.
So what do we have to do to get on to Google? Like, just do this?
You can just go and you can claim a business, and it's really, really quick and easy.
Oh, okay. So in this case, so when we type this, how do I get to the top of this? Like the house is at the top at the moment.
Yeah, the algorithms on that get a little bit complex. It depends on where you're searching from. So it typically will choose the closest one, but you can get up the rankings by making sure that you're using it regularly, like putting posts on and lots of images. It also links your Google reviews as well. So if you've got lots of Google reviews, that will help you.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
159 Google reviews.
Is this your dad's one? Is it this one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he is on there then.
Okay.
Yeah, you've got lots of photos, and it's perfect for a restaurant. Like it's because you can show your food and yeah, brilliant. That looks delicious. I'm hungry now.
Yeah. Awesome. Right, let's get back to the questions. Sorry, I'm hijacking your thing here. Chris, do you regret growing too quickly, or do you think that ultimately allowed you to get to where you are now, but quicker?
Yeah. We didn't really have any choice. There were just big steps that we just had to take. There's lots of things we could have done in there better from the beginning. You know, by putting all those lessons we learned from the start. Lots of little mistakes, but the big stuff actually we got right. You know, it was the right things to do.
No, nice. And Chris and Michael True. No, it wasn't the WAP. It was Flow. Did I sell 30% less? No, I didn't. Richard, knowing what you know now, how would you start the kitchen design business this time round? How does year one look like? Oh, that's a great question, Richard.
Yeah,
nice.
That is a good question. I got a very, very clear vision of it. So it'll be a very high end, very small turnover in terms of sales per sale. I don't have to word that properly, but so it's like a £50,000 plus kitchen, one a month, something like that. It'd be a very much a top quality, best of everything, and I won't get involved in any messy stuff, if that makes sense.
How much of that would be profit from a 50k kitchen?
When I did my business numbers on it, probably somewhere around about 10,000.
Okay, cool.
So it's not a massively exciting, profitable business, but if I've got my other income and everything else is taken care of, it'll literally be £10,000 a month profit from a business that I'll be designing 2 or 3 kitchens a month and selling one of them.
Nice. And what, you design the kitchens on like a computer software, like a CAD type thing?
Yeah.
Nice. And how would you go and market to find these high buyers, as in these expensive?
Exactly the same as what I'm doing now, the same system.
Same, yeah.
The website will reflect that. I'd probably charge for the design service as well. So everything's going to be premium. If people are paying 50, 60 grand for a kitchen, they're going to pay you 500 quid to design it. And if they don't, they're not the right client anyway. So, but that's in a position, starting a business where you've got a lot of financial backing and the support systems there, you know, like I wouldn't do that if I was starting on a budget. You've got to fight for those customers. You've got to lower your profits to begin with so you can sort of build up. You have to go through that pain. There's not many people have got that starting point, have they?
Yeah. And continuing on from Richard's question, like he said, how does year one look like? I mean, will you have staff with this, like employed staff, or obviously you'll probably have the fitters as what, subbies, or?
Yeah, they probably would be subcontracted, but they'd have to be exceptional, and I'd pay them more than they could possibly get paid anywhere else.
Yeah.
That's the one headache, that because I almost started a kitchen business instead of the marketing. If it wasn't for my contract, I probably would have done. And it's the one thing that put me off was tradesmen, basically, because I know they're a pain in the ass. I've been there and done it, but just making sure you look after them and get the very best, and you can do that when you've got a premium service.
Fair enough. Cool. And last question for me, do you do any offline marketing at all?
Nothing anymore.
Yeah.
No, literally nothing. It's all digital.
Cool. Right. Well, I think unless there are any other questions and coming in Zoom in the next 5 seconds, I think we'll call that a day. It's been an hour. Stuart said, thanks for the interview. Stuart, some really interesting insights. I can relate to business failure and emotions that go with it. Yeah, I agree. Like you literally cannot get into a business without having to deal with stress. So it's important how you react to it. Some people shit their pants when anything bad happens, and those people don't do well in business. They don't last very long. I guess you've got to be like water on a duck's back and just keep on paddling. So, right. Have a good one, folks. Mate, Stuart, thank you so much for today. Much appreciated. And I'll be seeing you online playing Age of Empires later, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Stuart is one of the blokes I play Age of Empires with.
Yeah.
So you probably notice a theme here. I'm just interviewing those that I play Age of Empires with. Right.